Good afternoon, everyone. Will DuPree here in the KXAN live studio. We do appreciate you all joining us here to talk about something that's happening in our community right now. Earlier today, we want to show you this video that we got. This is at a food distribution site here in Austin where hundreds of cars lined up today to receive boxes of food from the Central Texas Food Bank. Similar scenes to this have been playing out here across our area and some in other parts of Texas, as people are working to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic and they're turning to many organizations like the food bank for help. Well, we have heard about this here at KXAN, and we've decided to partner with the Central Texas Food Bank to try to raise some much needed money at this very critical time as many people turn to the food bank and it is seeing its need skyrocket there. So today, to talk about these many different efforts, we are joined, fortunately, by the president and CEO of the Central Texas Food Bank, Derrick Chubbs. Derrick is joining me here live now. Derrick, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, we want to ask about that distribution that happened earlier today. We were just showing video for our viewers here on KXAN Live. Tell us how that all went today and how it all turned out.
Well, today we actually were able to distribute food to over 1,500 households. 1,562, I think, was the final number. And that equates to around 4,800 individuals.
Whenever you hear those numbers, what do you think?
We gasp on one hand, and then on the other hand, we feel fortunate that we're able to be here for our friends and neighbors and provide the much needed support that they have during some pretty challenging times for us all.
You have said previously that a lot of maybe people who work in the service industry might be turning to the food bank now, whereas they probably didn't have to rely on that help, but it all is because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Who are the people that you're seeing now turn to you guys to receive some support during this time?
Well, we're seeing a little bit of everyone. Interestingly enough, we got a bit of a window into what this might look like. We didn't realize it, but last year when we experienced the government shutdown, and very similar scenario, but just that we're dealing with today, but today is just a much, much larger scale. And what we're seeing, and what sometimes we don't get the opportunity to share, I like to say the face of hunger really isn't what you think in Central Texas. It's not automatically homeless. It's not automatically unemployed. In fact, the majority of those individuals that depend on our services are working households. Well, now those working households and others are not working. And that's why we saw, just in the month of March alone, right here in Travis County, which is only one of the 21 counties that we serve, we saw a 207% increase in new clients. So, we're glad that we're here. We're glad that, supporters like KXAN and your viewing audience are supporting us in this effort, because no crisis has stretched our ability to serve like COVID-19.
That was my next question, is you just touched on it. How does this particular time compare to any other that the food bank has dealt with?
Well, this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this before. We've done mass distributions like you saw at LBJ before, but there's a different aspect of it now, that it's not just about distributing more food. It's about how we package that food. It's about how we shift our distribution model in order to limit the risk, shall we say, of our staff and volunteers and maintain social distancing, which is why we've gone to emergency food boxes. Typically what you would see in like today would be long tables and more of a selection process. But in order to try and keep our staff and volunteers as safe as we possibly can, and to minimize the amount of human interaction, as much of that as we can, we've shifted to a pre-box model.
As you're saying that, we're looking right at the video from today's distribution site of your volunteers and workers wearing masks, having on gloves, and then they're the ones that are handling the boxes and putting those in people's cars. I'm sure that's a safeguard that you are going to keep going at this point.
Absolutely. Actually, I was asked earlier today if when this crisis is over, what will we do? Or if certain areas move back to normal faster than others. And I simply said, this is a distribution model that we think minimizes the risk and gives us the opportunity to provide our friends and neighbors with the much needed nourishment, with much needed nourishment. And this is something that we're going to stick with, I think, for quite a while. So the gloves, the mask, the boxed groceries, as opposed to putting them in a bag, is a model that we will likely stick with for a while.
As you said earlier today at LBJ Early College High School here in Northeast Austin, you all serve more than 1,500 people. What is the food bank most in need of right now?
So we had 1,500 households, which you would do some math with that, gets us to about 4,800 people. And what we're in need of right now is clearly monetary donations. We are having some of the same challenges that shoppers have. We depend heavily on donated food from our retail grocers. And when they don't have access to that food, then they're not necessarily giving us or donating food to us, which means we have to purchase that food. So as an example, the boxes that you saw today, under normal circumstances, putting that box together would cost the food bank about $5 a box. If that's purely purchased food, that's around $25 to $30 a box, because it's 28 to 30 pounds of groceries. And that's what you would normally pay if you walked into a grocery store and bought 30 pounds of groceries at the retail price. So we need to be able to purchase more food. And in addition to that, we need to be able to purchase the types of food that we need. And in this particular case, it's shelf-stable items. Things you would normally see in your pantry: peanut butter, beans, rice, those types of items. And we're able to turn those into almost a week's worth of food in that box for a household. So that's the type of support that we need from Central Texas today, is just help us continue to position ourselves so we can buy food to meet this growing need.
Sure. If someone donates some money to the food bank, how far can that contribution go?
Well, typically we can take $1 and turn it into 4 meals, which is pretty critical for us. And we're very good with how we manage those purchases. We're not necessarily limited to having to purchase right here in Central Texas. Thanks to being part of the Feeding America network, we have access to distributors across the country. So we can always shop for the best and get the best price for the food and the right type of food that we need in order to distribute.
If you're just joining us, everyone, thank you for watching here on KXAN Live. We have Derrick Chubbs, the president and CEO of the Central Texas Food Bank. We are talking about the increasing demand that the food bank is seeing and kind of the help that we are hoping to provide the food bank at this critical time. Derrick, are there any other large-scale distributions planned at this point? The one we were showing people video of earlier was at Early College High School, LBJ Early College High School here in Northeast Austin. What is coming up in addition to that one?
Yes, we have probably around 7 or 8 more planned for the month of April. I think our next one is at Creedmoor Elementary School is where our next one will be. That's the next planned one. And if you go to our website, centraltexasfoodbank.org, press the button that says Find Food Now. And once you press that button, if you enter either your zip code or your address, a map will appear and all the places that we're distributing food within that zip code, if you use that, will appear. Because we're not only doing these mass distributions, we're still continuing to do our regular mobile pantry distribution, as well as providing, as well as our partner agencies, which are soup kitchens, food pantries throughout our 21 counties. So what you saw today is in addition to what we do normally on a regularly scheduled distribution time.
Lots and lots of work always. If someone is needing help, what should they do?
Either go to our website, and I think that's probably the best one, because you can also have access to the map that shows the distribution. So centraltexasfoodbank.org, simply press the button that says Find Food Now, and enter a zip code, if you will, and every place that we're distributing food should appear there. You can also call 211. 211 for the latest information, and they feed us information, and also could potentially link you to our website and our Find Food Now, or the tool that allows you to identify where we're distributing food.
We also can't ignore the fact that these are very tough times for pretty much everyone. Being able to give financially to another organization that really is helping out people is a difficult and a tall ask. For anybody who might have any reservations about that, what's your message to them?
If there was ever a time, and I speak for myself, my fellow food bank CEOs, and my peer CEOs across the nonprofit network, this is a time that we rise up to support our community. And I would just encourage everyone to donate or support someone. I mean, even if it isn't us, there are a number of other very worthy causes. I am friends with most of the colleagues of the other nonprofits here in Austin. Please try and support someone, because there's never been a time that we have been more in need, or our friends and neighbors have ever been more in need. And these are individuals who normally would not have to seek these types of services. So please give, please support everyone.
And the reason why we're asking for donations is because there is no end in sight for this particular crisis, this pandemic. And that's why you all need that additional financial support to be able to continue providing to families that are still affected by this.
That's correct. This is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And even if things return to normal within the next 30 days, the likelihood of us having to continue to support these families for the next 90 to 120 days is very, very high, because they have to catch up. If you've lost your job in most cases, and these are the stories that we hear, you're already behind with whatever obligations you have. And just because you go back to work, you don't automatically catch up. It's typically months before you catch up. So we're going to be in this for the long haul. We will see this need. This heightened need, certainly for the next 60 days, I'm certain. Maybe it could dwindle down after that. I have no idea. COVID-19 is pretty much setting all the rules, all the planning, and all the standards, and we're all just doing whatever we can to adjust to it.
Exactly. That's what we're all having to do. How has the pandemic affected what you're able to provide families that might come and pick up a box of food from you all?
Well, one of the things we've had to do is shift to more shelf-stable items. Typically, we try and do everything we can to balance produce as well as the shelf-stable items and the protein. The way we're having to shift our model now to minimize as many touches as we possibly can, we're having to focus largely on those shelf-stable items. Something else that we've done is we've had to drop the number or decrease the number of volunteers that would come to the food bank. We could manage 100 volunteers per shift per day within the food bank, and we've had to drop that number by 70% just to maintain social distancing. But what we've done in addition to that is that we've stood up satellite locations and several churches around the Central Texas area that are building these emergency food boxes for us. And and that's a pretty drastic change in our model. But in working with shelf-stable items, as opposed to a lot of fresh produce, we get a few extra days in terms of how long we can keep something in inventory and transfer it from one location back to the food bank and into the hands of those in need.
Derrick Chubbs is joining us. He's the president and CEO of the Central Texas Food Bank. Derrick, we had also partnered with you all here at KXAN to try to raise some money for the food bank. And so
Yes, you
far, at
have.
least in the last 24 hours or so, we've collected more than $85,000, which is a huge amount, and so much appreciation to anybody who decided to give to that. It goes a long way. But maybe explain how much of an impact at least that amount of money will have for you all at the food bank.
Well, I have two pieces for that. One, I have an update as of
Okay.
1:30, and that's $105,735.
Wow.
So so thank you and our viewers and your viewers for that support. But when we're looking at $100,000 and we multiply that by 4, that's did I lose you? Crap.
No, we still see you. It's all good.
You just still see me? Perfect.
Yes.
That's over 400,000 meals.
You said
So that will
400,000
go
meals.
400. That's over 400,000 meals. Yes.
Wow. And you
So
and
that goes an awfully long way.
yeah, and the updated number you just said was 105,000?
Yes, it was. Yes, it is. 105,735, and that is of 130. And since another almost hour has passed, I am encouraged that the number is probably higher.
Incredible. I mean, what do you say to the people who have given that and at least raised this amount of money so far?
This is one of the reasons I love this city and I love Central Texas. The heartwarming support that we get from our friends and from our neighbors, whether it's $100 or $1, everyone is chipping in to support us. So on behalf of myself, our staff, our board, but most importantly, those that depend on our services every single day, I just would like to issue a heartfelt thank you for what you have done in the past and what you will do moving forward for us.
Truly incredible to see people give in that way. Derrick, before we wrap up our live stream with you, is there anything you'd want to tell people, any other points that you want to get across before we finish everything?
Well, I think that, again, just a heartfelt thank you to KXAN and the support that you have always provided the food bank, not only now, but in times past. Particularly for those individuals who have never used us before and have never had to seek our services. Your support here, as well as helping us get the word out relative to where we are and how we distribute food, is absolutely critical. So thank you so very much for that. My last thing is just to remind our neighbors, those that are supporting us, that these distributions are, please think and help us make sure that these distributions are for those individuals and families that are food insecure. Just remember that, and that's what we'd like to do, and that's who these are exclusively for. And that's what we'd like for you to do. Step aside and let those in needs move forward, not necessarily because something isn't on the shelf at the local HEB. These are for our food insecure families, our veterans, our children, our seniors. We're trying to make sure that we're here for them, and we need to be here for them for the long haul, and that's our plan.
People who truly need it. Derrick
Yes, sir.
Chubbs is the president and CEO of the Central Texas Food Bank. Derrick, thank you so much for joining us, and we are so happy to hear that $105,000, at least at this point, is coming your way.
We are ecstatic. Thank you so very much.
All right, everybody. Again, that is Derrick Chubbs with the Central Texas Food Bank. We really do thank him for his time to talk to us today and answer a lot of questions, because The need is so high right now with that particular organization and all the people that it helps here in our area. So please, we want to show this information once again. KXAN is partnering with the Central Texas Food Bank to feed Central Texas. We are collecting monetary donations for that organization so that it can provide more meals and much more help for people here in need because of the COVID-19 pandemic. If you would like to give, here is the website you can go to, kxan.com/foodbank. And that's where you can donate whatever amount that you would like. Anything will help, no matter how large or small it might be. It goes a very long way, as Derrick Chubbs just told us here a few moments ago. Once again, I'm Will DuPree here in the KXAN live studio. We do appreciate you all watching and paying attention and even giving. As Derrick just said a few moments ago, you all have helped raise more than $105,000 at this point. That is unbelievable. The smile across my face is so genuine because we appreciate you all giving during this very difficult time, and we know that that's a very tall ask at this moment when so many people are suffering. So we thank you once again. You can find out more information over on our website, kxan.com, and on the KXAN News app. We have a special section just for this. Again, it's kxan.com/foodbank. You can donate there. We also have some stories that will air that will express to you all the need that not only people are facing, but the demand that the food bank is facing as well, and it's trying to meet. So we do appreciate you all watching. Once again, I'm Will DuPree here in the KXAN live studio. We'll see you back here another time. Please stay safe, healthy, and if at all possible, at your own home. Thanks again, everybody.